So Paddy the Baddy Pimblett, after his sensational victory over Michael Chandler last time out, and him getting in the ring when Ilia Topuria knocked out Charles Oliveira, we're all waiting to see when or if they're going to fight.
I finish you, little
Get
man.
that from here.
I finish you.
We all know there's a logjam at the top. There's three contenders. There's Arman. He's out because he's fighting Dan Hooker. There's Paddy, who got to square up in the octagon. And then there's Justin Gaethje. Both fights make a lot of sense. I guess you could argue that Justin Gaethje has been around a little bit longer than Paddy, of course. But he has had 2 title fights in the past. And now Paddy Pimblett has taken to Instagram, taken to social media, and thrown the gauntlet down and said, why hasn't Water Bottle Boy signed the contract? Okay, there's a picture of him there. He's just whooped ass in the octagon. And it's a very good question. And I'm not saying that there has been a contract offered to Ilia Topuria. But according to Paddy Pimblett, there has, okay? Obviously, I commentate for the UFC. I know nothing about this situation. But Paddy Pimblett has gone to Instagram and said, why haven't you signed the contract? Ilia Topuria, El Matador, whatever you want to call him, okay? Why haven't you signed the contract? Now, before we get excited about this, there's a few things to consider. Fighters do this. You know the amount of times fighters have said to me, why haven't you signed the contract? Okay, and I'm like, what contract are you talking about, dickhead? There hasn't been a contract sent. Fighters do it all the time. They have a bit of fun. They wind up their opponents. They try and make them look bad to the public, okay? Tries to make them look like they are ducking, okay? I'm trying to think of examples. Luke Rockhold was one of them. There was a few. I had that many fights, okay? I had 40 professional fights pretty much, 42 if you include the Ultimate Fighter. Multiple times people said, sign the contract, dickhead. I'm like, there hasn't been a contract, you utter moron, okay? So, is that what's happening? Is Paddy Pimblett doing that? Or is there real discussions? Because the reality is that Ilia Topuria could be headlining the first ever event on Paramount TV, okay? They want to start with a bang. This is an insane deal that the UFC have signed. And trust me, the sport is only going to get bigger. The sport is going to explode with this new deal. Whether you're a UFC fan or a UFC fighter, there is going to be a lot more eyeballs on the sport. It is a new era, ladies and gentlemen, and they want to wheel out with a big card, with an absolute bang, with some of the biggest superstars. And Ilia Topuria in the lightweight division, I'm telling you, that could be it. Dana White was asked about it at the Contender Series a couple of days ago. He said it's a distinct possibility. We will, and obviously if you put Paddy Pimblett in there as well, that's one of the biggest fights you could ever see. Now, of course, Ilia Topuria doesn't shy away from challenges. Ilia Topuria just this week was talking about Islam Makhachev, and he said that if Islam Makhachev loses, then he may as well go back to Dagestan, to his farm, and continue shepherding his sheep, okay? But if he wins, I'm definitely going to move up 100%. Now, Ilia knocked out Charles the Bronx Oliveira, who just got a sensational win last week. So that just kind of punctuates how good Ilia Topuria is. I am telling you, this man might just be one of the best fighters the sport's ever seen. And he wants to be a 3-weight division champion because he said if Islam wins, 100% he's going up. And by the way, that's never been done before. And Alex Pereira, with that rebound win that he had, the way that he smoked Magomed Ankalaev, made it look easy, unbelievable. There's a real chance that maybe Alex Pereira could do that. But Alex Pereira came out this week and had something to say about that. He wants to fight Jon Jones at the White House. Not interested in Tom Aspinall. He said he wants Jon Jones because of the resume that Jon Jones has had, because what he means to the MMA world and the relevance that he's had, the career that he's had, and in some people's eyes, the GOAT status that he also has. He's more interested in that than taking on Tom Aspinall, okay? And yeah, sure, listen, Tom might be a terrible matchup. Tom might be bigger. Tom would represent a chance for Pereira to become a 3-weight division champion. But he said, if I lose to Jon Jones, who cares? If Jon Jones loses to me, who cares? And I kind of get his point, because this would be two of the most instrumental fighters. Obviously, Jon Jones of kind of yesteryear. You know, he was retired up until quite recently. And Alex Pereira very much being the man of the moment right now and kind of one of the big faces of the division. This would be an epic battle between two fighters with iconic status within the sport. And if either guy lost to each other, then so what? Who cares? It doesn't matter. Everyone tunes in for the sheer spectacle of it. The point that Pereira was making, that if he was to lose to Tom Aspinall, is that like, well, I've lost to Tom Aspinall, so what? I'll go back to light heavyweight. I'll carry on doing my thing. Or maybe he won't. Maybe he walks away from the sport, because he was talking about moving on to boxing. He said 100% he's definitely going to box. Anyway, the video's about Ilia Topuria, so apologies, I went off on a bit of a tangent there. Is he going to fight Paddy Pimblett? Will that be the first fight on Paramount in January? Let me know what you think about that in the comment section. We know that Justin Gaethje wouldn't be happy about that. Of course, I get that. I understand that. Title fights are hard to come by, and he has had 2 already. This would be a first for Paddy Pimblett, and this sport really is about what have you done for me lately. The reality is, in mixed martial arts, combat sports, kickboxing, whatever, you're only as good as your last fight, okay? And your next fight is always the biggest fight of your career. Last time out, Paddy Pimblett went out there and just destroyed Michael Chandler, and then he got a chance to jump into the octagon and face off against Ilia Topuria. Yeah, Justin Gaethje, the man's a legend, the human highlight reel. We all know about some of the performances, but we got to remember he did get knocked out last year against Max Holloway. He did come back and beat Rafael Fiziev, a man that did take the fight on short notice. It was a fantastic fight. It was a brilliant, entertaining matchup. Explosive, of course, just like they always are with Fiziev and Justin Gaethje. You throw them in an octagon, you know what you're going to get, and that's what we saw. But he had beaten him before, and he is 1 fight removed from losing to Max Holloway. So I don't know if it's going to be Paddy Pimblett versus Ilia Topuria, but there's a very good bloody chance. And given the fact that Paddy Pimblett is on social media, calling out the water bottle boy, talking a little bit of shit, trying to get the hype going, maybe he's trying to embarrass Ilia Topuria, maybe he's trying to force Ilia Topuria to posture. I mean, he's got no problem doing that. He was on the Rogan podcast. Every interview that he does, he's got no problem speaking his mind and putting it out there and manifesting or whatever you want to call it. The man's very, very confident, and he doesn't shy away from telling people that he's going to beat them. And he said that about Paddy Pimblett several times. And he said that it's personal with Paddy Pimblett. And I don't blame him, because it kind of is. Paddy Pimblett will get under your skin. He will talk a lot of shit.
I'd love to come to Burnabout and punch your face in.
He will throw water bottles at you. He will call you the hand sanitizer boy or whatever it was. And this dates back multiple years ago in London when Paddy was 155 and Ilia was still 145, and they were talking shit way back then. So they've got to fight at some point. But the real question is, I guess I said it before and I'll say it again, are they going to fight? Will that be the first fight on the Paramount deal in January? Or is Paddy Pimblett talking shit and playing us all? We don't know. I guess we're going to find out. But thanks for watching.